Have you ever felt like the more you think, the more distant you become from others? That the more you question, the less people want to engage? If so, you're not alone. Throughout history, deep thinkers have often found themselves isolated, not because they were wrong, but because they saw beyond the surface of things. This isn't a coincidence. Society has always been wary of those who think too much. From Diogenes mocking social norms to Nietzsche questioning morality itself, intellectuals have often been treated with suspicion, ridicule, or outright rejection. Why? Because deep thinkers do something unsettling. They challenge the illusions that keep society comfortable. But why does this happen? Why does intelligence, more than any other trait, create such a divide between individuals and the world around them? To understand this, let's examine human psychology. When you meet someone physically stronger than you might admire their power. When you encounter someone wealthier, you may feel envy, but you don't question your own intelligence. But when you meet someone who sees reality more clearly than you do, something different happens. It's called the mirror effect. A deep thinker doesn't just share new perspectives, they expose the blind spots of those around them. And people don't react kindly to being reminded of their limitations. The mere presence of someone who sees deeper truths can make others feel uncomfortable, even defensive. But why is this the case? Why is intellectual superiority met with resistance instead of admiration? To answer this, we need to understand how our minds handle different types of superiority. When someone is physically fit, we might feel motivated to exercise. When someone is financially successful, we might aspire to achieve similar wealth. These qualities are external. They do not threaten our core sense of identity. But intelligence is different. Unlike physical or financial status, intelligence is deeply tied to self-perception. We define ourselves by what we believe, what we understand, and how we interpret the world. When a deep thinker challenges these beliefs, it can feel like a direct attack, not on what we know, but on who we are. This is why society has historically resisted intellectuals. The deeper someone thinks, the more they threaten the comfort of widely accepted ideas. And human nature is wired for comfort, not for truth. Have you ever tried to share an idea you found fascinating, only to be met with disinterest or even hostility? Have you noticed how quickly people change the subject when discussions become too abstract or challenging? This isn't random, it's a defense mechanism. When people encounter someone with a deeper level of thought, their brain instinctively reacts to protect their self-image. Instead of curiosity, they feel discomfort. Instead of engagement, they withdraw. This is why many of the greatest minds in history have been dismissed, ignored, or even persecuted. Their insights weren't just inconvenient, they were threatening. Interestingly, studies show that confidence is often more socially valuable than intelligence. People naturally gravitate toward those who speak with certainty, even if their ideas are simplistic. This is why charismatic but shallow thinkers often rise to prominence, while nuanced intellectuals struggle to reach a broad audience. History is full of examples, political leaders, influencers, and media personalities who thrive by offering simple answers rather than deep questions. Meanwhile, those who dare to challenge societal assumptions often find themselves pushed to the margins. This is the paradox of intelligence. The pursuit of truth often leads to a sense of isolation. But is there scientific proof that people actually fear deep thinkers? Neuroscience suggests that the answer is yes. Studies have shown that when individuals feel intellectually outmatched, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, becomes highly active. In other words, deep thinking doesn't just challenge ideas, it triggers an instinctive threat response. But why would intelligence activate the same survival mechanisms as physical danger? The answer lies in evolution. For most of human history, survival depended on social cohesion, not intellectual brilliance. Early humans thrived in groups where belonging meant security. To challenge the beliefs of the tribe was to risk being cast out, and being alone meant danger. This is why the human brain prioritizes social harmony over intellectual exploration. The presence of a deep thinker disrupts the tribal equilibrium, making them a perceived threat rather than an asset. A recent study at Harvard University revealed something even more surprising. People are less threatened by intelligence in one-on-one interactions, but feel significantly more defensive in group settings. Why? Because social status becomes more important in a group. If someone feels intellectually overshadowed in front of others, they are more likely to reject or undermine the deep thinker to maintain their own social standing. This explains why deep thinkers can often have meaningful conversations in private, yet struggle to connect in larger social circles. Psychologists have identified key cognitive biases that explain why intelligence often leads to rejection. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Those with low competence often overestimate their knowledge, while highly intelligent individuals tend to underestimate theirs. This leads to conflict, as those who know less often believe they know more. Status quo. Bias. The human brain resists change. Intelligence introduces complex ideas, but people prefer familiar, comfortable beliefs. The backfire effect. When confronted with information that contradicts their beliefs, most people don't change their minds. They dig in deeper. In the modern world, social media has amplified this problem. Algorithms favor engagement over depth, meaning that emotionally charged, oversimplified content spreads faster than deep, thoughtful discussions. Look at the most viral content. It's short, catchy, and easy to digest. Meanwhile, intellectual debates struggle to gain traction in a digital landscape built for instant gratification. So what does this mean for deep thinkers? It means that isolation isn't always a sign of failure. It's often a consequence of seeing more than others are willing to acknowledge. It means that resistance to deep thinking isn't personal, it's psychological, biological, and cultural. But it also means that deep thinkers must navigate the world wisely. Rather than forcing insights onto those who resist, they must seek out those willing to question alongside them. Schopenhauer once said that intelligence is not a blessing, but a burden. The more you understand, the harder it is to ignore. The more you see, the lonelier the journey becomes. But he also believed that solitude is not something to be feared, but embraced. If the world resists deep thinking, then perhaps deep thinkers must create their own world, a world where questioning is valued and where truth is worth the cost of isolation. Because in the end, it is not ignorance that moves humanity forward. It is those who dare to think beyond it,